Hello and welcome to Friday First with me, Zara.
And me, Scarlett. We'll be bringing you the latest news and updates from student unions nominations in today's show.
And I'll be discussing the sport and entertainment.
Two years ago, Manchester Dogs Home was involved in a major fire which caused damage to their shelter houses and adoption facilities. This Monday was a great day for the Dogs Home as they reopened the facilities and moved the dogs back from the Cheshire campus. Laura Beth went to speak to the manager of the Dogs Home and went to see some of the ongoing developments.
Manchester Dogs Home offers shelter to a wide variety of strays of all shapes, sizes and breeds. I went to visit the manager of the home to talk to him about his role and how the home is building itself back up after the horrific fire which destroyed a vast part of the home. How do you find that you've been recovering?
It's been a slow process for us. We remained at crime scene for a very, very long time following the fire, and then there's been a lot of logistical issues that we've had to overcome. But thankfully, we're heading in the right direction. We're just all pulling together.
When we arrived, we were taken on a tour of the grounds, and Stephen, who manages the Dogs Home, explained about how the different pen systems work.
An idea of the scale of the sites and the scale of the premises themselves. Our old adoption centre used to sit on this piece of ground behind me. We used to run from the top space there and run all the way down the full length of the site to the building that we're going to go into in a minute, and that's the building that we're now using as our temporary adoption centre. We're currently stood outside Block 4. This is one of our typical stray blocks. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to have filming in there, but they're an old holding kennel. Meets all of the dogs' needs. They all have underfloor heating, keeps them warm, keeps them comfortable for the full 7 days that they're with us until they become our property, and we're able to move them over onto the adoption centre and put them up for adoption and look for their forever homes. So this is one of our previous stray blocks. It used to be what we call Block 5. We've now completely renovated that area, and it's now our temporary adoption centre, which is the facilities that we're going to be using until we get the plans passed and the permanent building elsewhere on the site.
It's been a long time coming, but Manchester has finally rebuilt a great resource, and I'm sure there are many Manchester families who can't wait to give a four-legged companion a forever home. Laura Beth, Quays News, Manchester.
Veteran broadcaster Bill Turnbull has left BBC Breakfast after 15 years on the famous red sofa. Guess that's where we got the idea from. On his last shift, when he used to get up at 34 in the morning, he received tributes from James Corden, Dermot O'Leary, Sean Williams and the Prime Minister David Cameron. Bill visited Quays News Studios last year and told us about his career.
You in your career so far is like any kind of standout moment or something that's been memorable?
Well, there have been lots really. I don't think one really stands out because there have been different things at different times. I remember big stories I've covered over the years. It's thrilling to watch the President of the United States getting sworn in on the steps of the Capitol once. Yeah. I also saw the President of the Russian Federation getting sworn in also in Moscow. So I've had that pleasure. There have been very big dramatic stories. There have been tragic stories too. I've had the great pleasure of meeting some very famous and important people. Nothing really stands out as such, but I've been very lucky.
Yeah, to have a few moments.
Nominations for a new sabbatical officers closed last Friday, and now it's the time when nominated students will be campaigning to get as many votes as possible. Scarlett, do you have any new updates for us?
I do, yes. I went down to meet most of the candidates, so I found out a bit about them all. So there's Bavika Pakal, and she aims to find new work opportunities at Media City for students at the at Salford Uni. There's also Joseph Stevens. He wants to raise the student voice, and he's worked with organisations and charity events, and he wants to have collaborations between different arts and media students at the uni. There's Jonathan Hayward. He's a mature student. He's a film student, and he's currently working in Media City doing a film screening, so he's very good about media and he's got a lot of knowledge about that. There's also Tom Roberts, and he works with the student union and he's part of the debating team, so I think that'll do him well when he wants to come to argue his point across.
Yeah.
There's also Stephen Smallman. He's fighting for more help with academic learning, catering, living activities. He wants to help students save money whilst they're at uni. And the next one is Jade Chadwick. She's currently the head secretary at Shock Radio. Don't know if you know her. She's another arts and media student, and she wants to rise platforms of arts and media by showing the work of students around the uni. The next one is Sammy Crown. He believes strongly about a service to humanities, all about international politics, international relations, and he's all about arts and media as well, so he just wants to...
I mean, obviously all the ones you've mentioned there are the arts and media candidates, aren't they? Obviously there's 36 candidates and you've just gone through little bits and bobs of the ones closest to us, as you say, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
So how do you go about voting for these?
You can vote online, or you can go into... There's Allerton, there's Maxwell, and Media City, and voting opens on Friday at 4.
Friday at 4, and when does it close?
It closes at...
I think it's the 10th.
10th of March.
It is the 10th,
March.
yeah, it's the 10th.
Yeah, 10th of March at 4 p.m.
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot more about them, but they're just the key bits about them for now.
And having spoken to them all, obviously we can't do any favouritism, but there seems to be a wide range of things they're trying to do. There seems to be an option for everybody.
Oh yes, definitely. They're all involved in arts and media courses, so they've all have a big knowledge about the media, and I think they just want to show the point across through. And there's also they can do that. There's a little question time on Thursday at 4.
Oh, that's good. Is that all the 36 are going to be there, or just the arts and media ones?
All 36.
All 36 are going to be there. Oh, okay.
That's great. Thanks for all that, Scarlett.
No worries.
So, Manchester students have been busy this week preparing for the Reclaim the Night march to stand against sexual violence against women, street harassment and victim blaming. Students have been creating banners ahead of the annual event. The University of Manchester hosted event took place last night at Owens Park in Fallowfield, parading down Oxford Road. Now, Joe, what's new in sport?
We've got plenty this weekend, including boxing, as where we'll start. Bury-born fighter Scott Quigg is set to be involved in the biggest bout of his life tomorrow night. He'll take on Northern Ireland Scott Frampton in front of a packed-out Manchester arena, with both the IBF and WBA super bantamweight titles on the line. Quigg has stated in the build-up that everything he has achieved inside the ring so far rides on tomorrow night's fight. In football, it's an important weekend for a number of our non-league sides. In the National League, Macclesfield look to halt a run of 4 straight defeats as they take on an ever-improving Wrexham at Moss Rose. In the National League North, it's a big day for Stockport County, with Jim Gannon taking charge of his first home game since being reappointed as boss. Also, in the same division, FC United of Manchester will be looking to bounce back from their 5-0 drubbing to Harrogate when they host North Ferriby at Broadhurst Park. In the Evo Stick Northern Premier Division, local pride is at stake as Ashton United and Hyde United lock horns in a local derby. And Salford are looking for revenge when they play Ilkeston after suffering a defeat to the Derbyshire-based side in the reverse fixture earlier in the month.
Speaking of Salford FC, I've just recently heard that the Class of '92 documentary is being renewed this series. What do you think about that?
Yeah, obviously a lot of people saw the first series, didn't they? Liked it. It wasn't just football fans that tuned in. I think everybody tuned in. I was down at Salford about a month back doing some commentary down there actually, and they were handing out flyers trying to get more people involved, trying to get more fans involved.
That's great.
This stage, obviously, it was more about the players last time, but they're trying to get more fan stories. And obviously, it was a big ratings hit for the BBC.
Yeah, especially when it was on last time. It seemed a bit of a lot more of Gareth Seddon being the main star of the show.
Oh, the model.
Yeah.
He loved himself a bit, didn't he, Gareth Seddon? Yeah. So maybe they're focusing more, like I say, they're focusing more on the fans. They'll probably focus more on a couple of other players as well, and more different characters around the club. Obviously, Gary Neville's gone over to Valencia now. He was a big involved in that first series, and maybe there'll be less of him this time with him being in Valencia.
Yeah, it'll be great to have them all back together though.
Definitely, and looking forward to the new series. I'm sure it'll be out later this year.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So Salford University Boating Club took part in the British Universities and Colleges Sporthead in Newcastle this weekend. There were around 40 universities involved, including Newcastle, Durham, Cambridge and London. Beginner crews raced on the Saturday and raced 2 kilometres down the river. Although the distance was changed to 1.5 kilometres due to high winds and a strong current, Newcastle were the overall winners of the weekend, winning 5 of the 13 races.
So could you tell me a bit about the race?
Yeah, so we took part in Bucks Head in Newcastle on Sunday, and it was a 5-kilometre race. It was actually quite nice because when the boys raced on Saturday, it was really, really windy and the race had to be cut short because a couple of boats nearly capsized. So we were all a bit nervous, thinking, you know, the race could get cancelled, we've come all this way, we've trained really hard. But yeah, we made ourselves really, really proud.
Okay.
Yeah. Do it.
So now on to entertainment, Joe. We want to talk about the Brits and Adele.
Yeah, pretty good night for her, wasn't it? 4 awards in the end. So many that I've had to write them down to make sure I've got them right. So it's
Brilliant.
Best Single, Best British Female. She won a special award here as well, a Global Success Award, and Best Album, all coming from her comeback. So yeah, I think she recovered from a Grammys failure, didn't she, last week?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Our British singer there, Adele, she was given the award for global success by Tim Peake, the astronaut, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think she loved that, didn't she? I think
she did.
she referenced a kid. She said the kids are going to think she's the coolest mum ever with that. So I think she's the coolest mum ever anyway, isn't she? To be fair, she's Adele, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what other performances were there on the night?
Yeah, we had Are You a Believer? Scarlett and
I am,
You
yeah.
Believers. So we not much. We had Justin Bieber, reformed Justin Bieber. He seems to be likeable nowadays, doesn't
Yes,
he?
yeah,
he was performing, and he also won an award as well. He got the best international artist. So complete turnaround for him really in the last 6 months, from everybody just really hating on Bieber to a likeable character, surprisingly.
Yeah. What about One Direction?
One Direction, yeah, they were up for an award for the best band.
Oh.
They lost out to Coldplay, but they did win a video award as well. I think only 2 of them bothered to turn up, so I think someone might have told them in advance that they weren't winning one of the big awards. I reckon.
Yeah.
I guess so. Coldplay had a great performance as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they opened the show as well, and obviously fresh from their Super Bowl performance that I'm sure everybody saw, where Beyonce sort of took over a bit. So there was no Beyonce walking on halfway through to take centre stage this time. But yeah, no, they opened the show, and there's quite a few really good performances on the night.
Yeah, definitely.
Seems like all the music award ceremonies are out of the way now, and we've got Oscars to look forward to on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sunday night, the Oscars. I mean, we've had so many awards the last few weeks. It's like award season, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
definitely,
what are you looking forward to in the Oscars?
I'm particularly looking forward to The Danish Girl, because I went to see that a couple of months ago. And the performance from Eddie Redmayne was insane. Like, I could not believe it. He needs to win it.
He won last year, didn't he, for Best Male Performance?
Yeah, the theory when he did Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
That was amazing too.
That's right. But Leonardo Dicaprio, he's up for the award for Best Male Performance. Do you finally think he'll win his Oscar?
Well, I don't know. Are they going to just carry it on every year? Just give him a bit more desperate, and then, when he's near retirement age, they might just give it him at the end. I don't know, but it's an interesting one, isn't it? I'm sure everybody's trying to, willing him on to win this one.
Yeah. Have you seen The Revenant?
I've not.
No, have you seen it?
I've not managed to see it. I'm desperate to. It's got 12 nominations.
Yeah, it is good. It's really good.
Is it?
It's very different, like, for an Oscar movie, but it's amazing.
I think rather than watching the Oscars, I need to watch the movies that are up for the awards in the first place.
Yeah,
I think I need to get around to doing
true.
that rather than watching the ceremony.
I'd definitely say it's a Leo year, though. Because
he deserves it after all this time, doesn't he?
His past co-star as well, Kate Winslet, she's up for Best Actress in a Supporting Role.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, for the Steve Jobs film, which is really good. So it'd be good to have them both win an award on the same night.
A Titanic reunion.
Yeah.
There we go. Be interested to see what happens anyway.
Yeah, it'd be great.
So, on to the weather now, and Jessica Tidswell went out to see what the weather was like. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So the last few days have brought us frosty mornings and blue sky. However, today there will be cloud across most of the northwest, temperatures reaching a high of 5 degrees Celsius. The wind is going to pick up as the afternoon develops, so it will feel slightly colder later on. Looking on into the weekend now, dry throughout Saturday and Sunday, low temperatures across Greater Manchester, generally staying cloudy and cold for most. So wrap up warm and have a lovely weekend.
Don't forget to keep up to date with more of the latest news and events on our website, quaysnews.net, and follow us on Twitter.
Goodbye for now. Thank
Goodbye.
you.
Goodbye.